in 3, 2, 1, Tetris! Players have started. Let's see what they can do here. We expect a lot, of course, of these players. Both of them have not been beaten by anyone. And Macy opens up Tetris number 1. Then we, of course, also having Tetris number 1 here. So the players want to get all Tetrises in. They know that their opponent is really strong, so every single burn is like, okay, that may be a chance where my opponent can get a lead, can catch up. So I expect the highest level of efficiency here. We had DanV yesterday having one of his matches. He played 5 games and got 3 1.3s, I believe. So we had massive games here by DanV already. Macy played against Tugi earlier yesterday and won there against Tugi. Not having quite as impressive a track record there just because of how tough some of the games were when we had like 60 plus droughts, for example, or when Tugi just stopped out a bit earlier than he did in Modern. But yeah, he also got 2 1.1s there yesterday, as well as a max out, so both of these players being able to play really high here, really high scores. All that it depends on is how consistent can they be here today. We already have a bit of a cleanup situation here on DanV's side. This allows Macy to get in an early lead here at about 45 to 50 lines played of level 18. Similar lines, you have a 1.5 Tetris lead now to Macy as DanV opened up once again. Yes, Macy does have a small lead, but it's so small that if he makes any mistake, it could mean that DanV catches up, maybe even overtakes here. 1.5 Tetris lead. Yeah, it's nice, but you can't really be like, okay, I'm gonna play a bit safe. You still have to play at maximum aggressiveness, especially if you're early on, like here. Okay, next Tetris lead now going to Macy. And 1 to DanV. We are currently on more or less a double 600k projection. We are having, as I said, 2 high-level players here, meaning we can expect high transitions to 18, into 19, into 29. Just highest Tetris that France has to offer. Next Tetris here now going to Macy, next Tetris here going to DanV. Then at 291 and Macy at 353, or now after a bit more 314 and 2.5 Tetris lead here basically for DanV. And Arin is pointing out the 29 codes remain. Don't forget, each code is free to use and adds 25 cents to the price pool, so feel free to exclamation mark Matcherino to get the Matcherino link so that you can get the course. For example, I will just use one that added 25 cents to the price pool. And of course, also good morning to Marie here in the chat, being here from the United States at pretty early or pretty late, depending on how you view it. About 90 lines, so 2/3 of level 18 are roughly done. Leave Marie also, I put the code, the link here, so most likely we'll see a 25-cent coupon added as well, and maybe even some proper donation. How exactly the prize money is split, you can see in the Shirino page, but it's like 35% to the winner, 20% to second place, 10% to third place, and the rest is gonna be split upon the Game Boy players who will be playing this afternoon. Currently are closer to level 19. The 521 here by Macy. Macy can get an easy 600k here, whereas DanV is at 482. Not gonna get the 600k here, but can get a pretty high 500k. Still good pace here for DanV. Needs to win a few lines here, and that has yet to cost a Tetris in terms of for the transition. Next Tetris here hopefully happening also on Macy's side. I feel like Macy has been waiting a bit long on the bar here. It's getting kind of the right side. Next Tetris here to both players. 553, 592. Macy needs to burn a bit here. Let's see if he burns fully open or if he's gonna be like, let's try and Tetris. Could go for the kind of 5 Tetris here, and no, instead he's playing safe. 598 transition, 598 transition, 600 transition for Dan. So actually Dan overtaking Macy here in the transition. It is neck and neck now, but the players half a single difference basically. Points will increase quicker and quicker as the levels go on, and your points get multiplied by the level that you. Next Tetris going to Macy. Next Tetris going Dan. 650, 650, neck and neck. Dan needs to clean a few lines here, whereas Macy is currently clean. We have a drought counter now ticking at 20 pieces, so 20 pieces, no bars. He has the next bar. 25 pieces, Tetris, Macy, Tetris, Dan, V. 683, 681. Neck and neck. Next Tetris to Dan. Next Tetris to Macy. Dan not able to use the bar here. So Dan is waiting for the next one. And that may take a bit as the drought counter is ticking once again. With an 18-piece drought currently. OP saying here on Macy's side. Means he has to pack something in there soon. 31-piece drought, so quite long for drought here. 722, 771, so at about a 1.5 Tetris lead here. Now at the same lines, it's about a 0.7 Tetris lead for Macy. So it is neck and neck. Macy gets the incorrect. JPC here needs to win a few lines, while DanV is open. Once again, getting the bar. Tetris to DanV. Macy may need to burn 3 lines here, and it looks like he has to burn the lines, which puts him technically ahead at that point, but the next Tetris goes to Dan just over Tetris ahead here of our French player Macy. Half of 19 is already done, and it looks like we will have a double max out, maybe a double 1.1. We still have 25, 26, 27, 28, so 4 doubles to go. Or 40 lines, also known as Tetris. Okay, next drought counter is ticking though. We had 30 plus pieces earlier, 31 to be exact. Let's see how this one will go. Macy is a bit by just a bit in the piece, like 1 piece ahead. Burns a few lines here. We have now 36, 38, 39 piece drought. This is quite awful. The longest we had yesterday was like 61, but after 44 pieces of no bar, we finally get the next bar. The player survived 1 long drought here, showcasing what you can do when you are used to the long droughts and hard to not matter too much. Macy going for a bit of a safety here. Probably smart as the level 29 transition coming in, and you want to have a clean level 9 transition. Wits on Dan's side, getting the next Tetris. About a 2 Tetris DT now to Dan. Next Tetris for Macy. Dan also getting the max out. Dan transitions 105. A5 transition for DanV here. Now level 29, the maximum speed. Macy is waiting for the next bar. Takes double just on a max out here. So we have about a 60k transition lead for DanV. Macy is clean and on the bottom. And we have DanV getting the next bar and Tetris. 1.1 for Dan. 1.1 for Dan. So there's about 100k lead here currently for DanV. Bit of a misdrop here of the JP's on Macy's side. OP is also not going over to the left completely. TB's misdrop on Macy's side, and this could be it for Macy. He needs to clean it up, but he doesn't get the next LPs over as well. Topping out at, and that means we have 1-0 here for Dan. Then of course, feel free to continue playing if you want to. 3, 2, 1, Tetris! Quite interesting colors here in the beginning, just a lot of white and a lot of blue. I got a bit of burning here going on. $46 versus 47. Next Tetris is also happening here. And it looks like Chugi versus Lukenzi is in quite an interesting situation. I can see the chance here for Chug over on the users semis. Bit of a drought here once again on the side of just 15 people, so barely about worth the match. The Tetris lead here currently for Macy, but as you've seen in the last game, an early lead doesn't mean too much if you can't get it home. You have to have the lead for quite a long time. Now 169, 169. It is neck and neck here between these two players. Neither of them allowing their opponent to have any chance to set up any early lead here. Just as I said that, actually DanV is able to, because he has had, as we can see, also 50 lines and 46 lines played. Next Tetris by Macy at basically the same lines and is back to a neck and neck situation here. Next Tetris in the meantime here going to DanV. Small burns here now by Macy to set up the next Tetris, getting the Tetris, and we have the neck and neck restored. Next Tetris to Dan. Macy wasn't able to use the bar here just now. Tetris set up, so gets one more bar, and now Tetris Macy. Also one more double burn. Have a clean stack. The JDPNC filled in and set up for the next bar here on Macy's side. Then we in the meantime has a bit of an not so great situation. Board-wise could spin, spins the piece in and connects tag the OPs, so the piece dependencies that he had have been fulfilled. Well played there. Next Tetris is now going to Macy. Currently the point lead is in favor of DanV by Tetris and some change, having played 7 lines more. Next Tetris to Macy. So Macy now 1 line behind. Same lines. Neck and neck. Tiny lead here to DanV. Next Tetris going to Macy. Yeah, the level 18 is as we expect it to be. It is close between the players. It is neck and neck. Neither of them can get much in over the other player. Also, it's a bit of a point-wise slower game than the last game so far. Dan crossing the 400k mark at 90 lines. And so does AC now. Next set was happening once again here. It's neck and neck between these players. Both players having clean stacks here and going for the bars, and Tetris this again. You can see the next bar falling down here on Macy's side. But yeah, the tiny lead here, as I said, is in favor of Dan. But it's less than a Tetris. At the same lines, it's like 1,000 points that he has in terms of lead. Like, yeah, we can see 2k. Nothing, basically. Now, next Tetris is here going to Dan. Mainly due to the bars that he got at that time. Let's see if Macy can also get ready for the Tetris. No, he can't. So this could be the opportunity for Dan to get in a tiny lead. But Dan has to burn here. He had a bit of a shadow cheese situation here. And yeah, that forced him burning scenario. Gets the next bar into Tetris. 570 here for Dan at 121. 543 for Macy at 115. Small overtime of that L piece by Macy. So there's going to be at least a single to burn due to that. And burning bit at the bottom as well here. The next Tetris to Macy, we can see currently neck and neck. Now once a J piece optimally gets T piece here. for the setup could try to play left well. DanV, of course, in the standard well, and is getting a 6-17, 6-1-7 transition. It's a bit high in the stack. We have a 20-piece drought, but here's the bar and Tetris. DanV into 6-42. 5-26 transition here for Macy. So about a Tetris lead in that regard. Macy a bit high, left side, okay, gets the bar, opens up once again, so that he can go for the next Tetrises. Dan, in the meantime, here quite clean. 6-90 for Dan, 6-20 for Macy. A 70k lead here currently to Dan. Next Tetris is also happening here. Dan at the bottom. There should be the next bar soon for Macy as well. Yeah, here's the bar. Tetris to Macy. Macy also nicely at the bottom here. Currently 100k lead here actually for Dan. Massive 100k lead for Dan, who has also played a few lines more. And Macy, as you can see, is getting into it. Opening up here, has a bar dependency and now a small hole in the stack. Actually, two small holes in the stack. So there's gonna be a bit of burning here to do by Macy. Whereas Dan is currently clean and has quite a big lead here. Next Tetris going Dan at 889. 727 here for Macy. So the lead is increasing even more at about 160. Now on 30,000 points at closer to the same lines. Next set was here for Macy. Next set was here for Dan. Both players now on level 24. Dan having played a Tetris more in lines. So in that regard, the lead is down to about 3.5 Tetrises. Dan also closing the well here. Needs to burn a few lines. And if you have to burn like 1 or 2 lines often enough, that is an opportunity for your opponent to catch up if the pieces fall down as they need them to be. We have a drought corner ticking, 18 pieces. Next set was here now going to Macy. Then V in at 990 in the meantime. The next Tetris does it, misses the spin here, so needs to burn a bit. Also bar dependency on column 4 due to a misplacement of the S piece. Okay, then V is trying to open up. Macy is in a clean stack, so just waiting for the next bar to get the Tetris. 0.5 Tetris difference now between the players. And Dan is still dirty, so we are on level 26, getting close to the end of level 19 speeds. The transition happens onto level 29, of course. Macy open once again, then V dirty. Then V hasn't really been able to get out of this situation, which has allowed Macy to now have the lead of just a tiny bit. Next Tetris here to Macy. Macy is now ahead by about a Tetris here against DanV. We are at level 28, 28, 226, 221, 225 lines. Double max out now. Macy has now the 1.1, 1.1 secured for Macy. Then V transitions A3 transition here for Dan. We have a B2 transition for Macy. It's about 100k, 90k lead here for Macy in the transition. Both players here currently going for singles, not really finding any opportunity to set up for Tetrises. Bar on Macy's side didn't go over to the left, the next one does go over. Dan is set up for Tetris, but needs to close the well here because the bar doesn't fall down in time. Is now quite high, finds places to burn. Gets a few singles in, well played here currently by DanV, trying to downstack as efficiently as possible. Whereas Macy is now 1.2, so C reached by Macy. Lead of about 150k here. And yeah, DanV is still trying to burn down. Macy not getting the pieces to where they need to be. Head and TP saying, which means DanV 1, 2, 3. C3 is your goal. About 130k for DanV to go. DanV now in a clean situation. Can he catch up on level 27, level 29 after this crazy 19? Oh, small mistake here of that S piece on Dan's side, and he doesn't get the next piece to where he wants it to be. This means top out for our British player in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Like there was something that needed to be quickly changed. Game 3 has started once again. As we have seen on level 18, we expect the players to be at more or less the same score. Whereas on level 19 and 29 we can actually score difference. That's just, you know, at a certain skill level that these players have definitely reached. They just have similar efficiency. We have the 100% Tetris rate here currently going on. Then we use the bar for widths though, so let's see when one will fall down. Base in the meantime closed the well, so needs to burn a few lines. Yeah, a bit of efficiency, high efficiency currently on DanV's side, mainly because of Macy needed to burn a bit early on. Small single burn here now. On Dan's side as well. After the bit of advantage that Dan has due to the opening of about the Tetris currently, not much has changed there, but Macy once again needs to burn a few lines here. Next Tetris here going to Macy. We have 286 versus 2. Next Tetris is happening. And we can see that the lead, if we take lines into consideration, oh, misspin here, misspin by Macy. That's a bit unfortunate, as that's going to cost lines and a bit of bigger lead here now at 10. I wanted to say it's only about 1.5 Tetrises of lead, but this has now led to a 2.5 Tetris lead to Dan in terms of projection pace. We have a 332 here, so mid 600 pace here for Dan, and 272, so mid 500k pace here currently for Macy. 100k lead here, wow, for Dan. That's just crazy. It is so efficient. Okay, Macy having a bit of a spire here in column 7-8. Next Tetris here now going to Dan again. And one more 2. Okay. Up, then we set up. Getting the bars, and yeah. Mark saying Macy with the Yanni's tech. I feel like Yanni hasn't been playing publicly in quite a long time. He wanted to attend the last few CTWC DES events, but never was able to due to personal reasons. I actually don't know the exact. Next status here for Macy. Macy only about 10 lines away from transition. So of course is Dan as well. Level 19 has happened, 662, 579, so the lead has decreased to just over 80k. We have level 19 where technically Dan now needs to burn a few. AC having the OP stack, okay, next stack also built in. Next Tetris here on Mace's side, next Tetris here on Dan's side. The next Tetris here once again on Dan. Mace needs to just burn a few lines here. We have seen the few lines burn escalate a bit earlier in the second game on Dan's side. Let's go here. Next Tetris is happening once again, 852 and 805. So about a 50k, 1.5 Tetris currently to Dan. Next Tetris action happening. One more here. AC side now on level 24. So half of level 19 is about done now. Next Tetris here going to AC. At about the same lines. And we have the drought counter ticking on Dan's side, but just 17 people, so barely a drought mention. Next Tetris here for Macy, 899 against 945. About 45k here lead for Dan. Next Tetris to Dan, next Tetris to Macy. And Dan having the max out now on level 26. So once again, really efficient gameplay here by Dan. Okay, Dan now wants a tease, has a bit of a hole in the stack as well. This could once again be an opportunity here for DanV to, for Macy to catch up. Next Tetris to Macy. Only half the Tetris difference here now. DanV still needs to burn a bit, is now open, and we have 106, 104. Next Tetris to Macy. Same lines, Macy in the lead. Macy in the lead by about 10k now. It is neck and neck between these two players here. But Macy slows also doesn't get the TP exactly to where it needs to be. Looks like CT2 has just finished the game of the match. Bar goes over Macy's side. Nice. About 1.5 Tetris lead here for DanV once again. But the focus for Macy now is trying to get into a 29able position. Getting a clean and somewhat lower stack. Because this is not really 29able. Once bar now for the column 5. 1.2 transition for Dan. 1.2 transition for Dan. 1.1 transition for Macy. Macy opening up once again. Left position here. Kind of tough on DanV's side. And that means top out on Macy at 1.13. High transitions here for these players, but yeah, the transition on Macy's side was just not high enough here. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Game 4 started. If DanV manages to win this game, then Macy and Tsugi will face once again. Tsugi and Macy faced already yesterday, where we had Macy obviously win. There were a lot of close games here. Yesterday we had them play 5 games, so decider. And most of them were really high. We had one where we had an awful drought that managed to get them to a top out. Of course, if you want to support the players, again, exclamation mark match arena. We still have lots of coupons left that add 25 cents to the prize pool each. We had 51, 54 simul Tetris action happening. Also one. Just had a bit of a discussion with Gunter casting, and it looks like if you get a decider, there will be Gunter and purple. I believe you had Gunter a bit earlier on, if I saw it correctly outside from here. I'm not too sure, like doing quite a bit. So you will make and purple as well. Otherwise, we have to figure it out because DanV also was like, hey, I want to cast as well, so we will have a change after this game. Definitely, the question is just how the change will be. Anyways, next Tetris here going to DanV, next Tetris going to Macy. We currently have DanV at 166 and 267 here for Macy. And we have two quite close, actually not that much of a close game. We have a bit of a lead here currently for Macy of about 4.5 Tetrises. And welcome viewers over from DT2. $60k lead, so then we close the gap just a bit. Let's get the spin and Tetris as well. We have 280 for Dan and 340 for Macy. Singles, next Tetris here going to DanV, next Tetris going to Macy. From here to Macy again. Quite calm, quite efficient. 18 here so far. Got a few burns here currently by DanV that may allow Macy to increase the lead even further. And next set was here to DanV again. Level 19 is just around the corner. We have 110 lines, 105 lines, and yeah, still the lead here for Macy of about 2.5 Tetrises, but Macy just had a bit of an unfortunate JPs here. Only was a single, good, was able to fix that quite quickly. Next JP stuck fulfilled, and getting the bar Tetris for Macy into 504 of 448. Then 527 for Macy. Next set here. Going on and on as you're about 10 lines away, so level 19. The heat is coming up. Macy can actually get a 600k transition if he gets the next two Tetrises, whereas Dan currently can't. Okay, so Macy is set up, just waiting for the bar. And we have the drought counter ticking just 16 lines here. 517, 596. Macy transitioning at 597 and 517 here for DanV. About an 80k transition lead here, just over 3 Tetrises. Next Tetris here going to Macy. And one more. DanV currently a bit close. Needs to find a few pieces to up. Is cleaned up, open once again. Currently burning a few lines to be in a clean stack situation here. Skimming a bit as well. Whereas Macy is a bit high now and dirty. Now the cleanup has to be done by Macy. Mace getting a few good pieces. Yeah, next thing is here happening on Macy's side, trying to get as low in the stack as possible. Then we're not getting the TPs over, but next bar went over, so there's not going to be any burns due to that. And next triple here by Macy. Macy close to being able to clean this up completely. DanV has a bit of a spire in the center, as well as being closed. Had the opportunity to try to build up for a dirty Tetris, but decides against that and said gonna burn. Macy in the meantime open once again. point difference currently 612, 675, and Dirty Tetris here now going to DanV. DanV is gonna have to burn a bit more though, as he has 2 holes here in the stack, which are now cleaned up. 643 for DanV, 731 for Macy. Simul Tetris about an 86k lead here currently to Macy. So this game looks quite good for Macy in terms of being able to force the decider here. Next Tetris going to Macy. Both players. Oh, okay, DanV not getting the OPs perfectly. He had the decision between placing it there or going for a bar dependency. He decided to not go for the bar dependency, instead play it a bit safer. This may allow our French player to increase the lead just a bit more. We have Macy currently going for a column 3 Tetris as well here. Whereas DanV is going for the standard well. Standard well, of course, is easier to go for, as you only have one side to worry about to keep it straight and not multiple. But the Tetris is happening here on Macy's side. Macy needs 2 more Tetrises, so could get the max out into level 27. Next Tetris here going to DanV. DanV at 863, Macy at 951. 2.5 Tetrises or 90k difference here between the players. Few burns here now on Dan's side, kind of high, getting the bar, getting the Tetris for DanV. 902, 988. Next Tetris here going to Macy. Macy having a 120k lead here. Next Tetris to DanV once again. We're getting close to level 29, the maximum speed screen. Blood count on DanV's side ticking, 18, 19 pieces. And here's the Tetris, luckily, as DanV was getting quite high on the left side, so otherwise he would have had to burn. And we're just a few lines away from level 29. 1 line remaining. We have a 983 transition for DanV. 983, 1-1. So we have about a 130k lead here for Macy in the transition. Missed drops on DanV's side of the TPs, for example. This is going to be tough to dig out of, but he can potentially do it depending on the pieces. Left side is accessible. Does get the bar over. Nicely done here by DanV. Good double here as well, getting the pieces exactly to where they need to go. In the meantime, Macy being clean. 120k lead. Bar does go over now after the bar hang here on DanV's side. Okay, very good burns here now on DanV. Trying to just get into a clean situation. We can hear the crazy reaction. Bar hang again here by DanV, getting the next pieces over to the left. Needs something for the center. Bar going down the center. Was able to go for double. Next double here for DanV. Once again, OP is on the right side. Right side's hard. And he hangs once again. And that means we have the 2-2-2.
In 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Gonna be pretty chill. Hope for another 29 battle here. DanV having a couple of burns allows perhaps take a bit of the lead. Easy is like 2 Tetris the lead right now. DanV is clean though. For that L to the left, perfect. Now in the lead, in neck and neck, only separated by a couple of 1,000 points. Interesting. Like I thought Mace was waiting for a flat J to the right. For Maze. separated by only 1,000 points. Pretty neck and neck for now. Both players with a decent start. Close to 200k at 50 lines. What you wanna be at on 18? With a Tetris moment. Oh, nice tuck of the T by Dan. Brings down a Tetris of L to the left. L. There it is. Left is a bit tricky. It's kind of a power for Dan in the middle of the board. Plays are gonna help. Is column 9? No. Column 10. Still extremely close game. Maisie getting a bit up high, having to take a lot of burns. Well, they got the same seed. At the moment, they're pretty much at the same effect. 4,000 points deep. Pretty much nothing. Oh, this is a bit of a drought now. That's right, both players under 40% Tetris rate right now. Oh, now Maisie with that S. Right. I've loved the nice delayed burn here. Not gonna be set up for a dirty anyways, so try to burn this down. Now just the long bar to the left. 20 piece drought, 22, 20. Okay. Not a dangerous drought by any means.
Yeah.
Looks like he hanged that S piece to the left, but maybe that was intentional.
He has to do some cleanup.
Ooh, getting those squares all the way to the right, and DanV taking a bit of a lead, 2 Tetris lead for Dan.
Okay. Maisie is back, almost ready to do some Tetris again.
Maisie is reopening the right side, bangs down a Tetris, Tetris for Dan. Now 2.5 Tetris is ahead. As we're approaching transition in 10 lines for both players. And yeah, this is not a very friendly seed. Neither players at 500k right now. DanV might transition with a low 500 and Maisie with a high 400. Tetris for Maisie 459 and Dan at 519 with that Tetris. One line to go for Dan. He's gonna transition at 521 and sets up a bits. Oh, that misdrop for Dan. He needs another long bar real quick. Okay, there it is. And Maisie transitioning at 483. 483, so about 2 Tetrises behind that transition. Maisie is clean, Dan is clean. Oh, Maisie had to create a long bar dependency. Taking care of it. Perfect burn and bangs down a Tetris here into level 21 at 546. Dan at 602, maintaining that 2 Tetrises lead.
Dan is a bit ahead on lines, but not much.
Another Tetris for Maisie. And Tetris for Dan, 3 Tetrises ahead, and yeah, 5 lines ahead indeed. So still neck and neck on pace, but Dan, that misdrop needs pieces to that left. Left is not looking very good for Dan, but...
Maybe a chance for Maisie to catch up.
Yes, Maisie is clean. Maisie's Tetris ready. Dan just got a Tetris though. He's gonna clean up the board with those burns. That's a close one. Tetris for Maisie. Less than a Tetris behind now.
Yeah,
Still a couple of lines behind.
exactly.
Tetris for Maisie taking the lead, 7:43 plays 7:30. And Maisie is 4 lines behind, so technically 2 to 3 Tetris is in the lead. But as we know, Dan can play very far into the kill screen.
And the Tetris rate is keep going up.
Yes, the Tetris rate has increased significantly now, almost at 50% for both players, 55% for Maisie, so Maisie actually more efficient. But it looks like this is gonna be a battle, a 29 battle between these players. Maisie with a tough board, has to burn a couple of lines. Goes for the dirty, gets the dirty. Tetris on 26, Maisie 2.5 Tetris is ahead.
Yeah, he kept his lead even with he had to do some cleans and burns.
A nice L flat for Maisie. Perfectly healthy board. Dan with a nice board as well, nice Korean adjustment. And Dan is 100k behind because 3 Tetrises at these levels is pretty much 100k. Less than 10 lines before level 29. Max out for Maisie. A16, Dan at 917. Dan has a hole on the left. Decides to put the square there to prepare for 29. Oh, this is tough. Dan is waiting for the bar. Maisie transitions at A33. Dan transitions at 962. So A33 to 962 at transition. Oh, nice burns by Dan. Dan is completely clean now. He's less than 2 Tetrises behind.
Yeah, he got his bar just in time for his transition.
Oh, hangs a piece to the left, but still low. Maisie's struggling as well, but no, Maisie's clean. Dan still burning. Good survival here. Dan 60,000 points behind, which is only a Tetris and a half at these levels.
They both have reached some 1 million.
Yes, Dan with a max as well, A19. Dan is clean. Oh, Maisie. Maisie gotta be careful. The left for Maisie is very high. Oh no, hangs a long bar to the left, and Maisie unfortunately is gonna top out at A93. So then you need A94. You need 50,000 points right now. A little more than that. A94 is the target.
Well, it should be easy for Dan, I suppose.
No, this is tricky. This is tricky right now.
Oh no!
Oh my god. Oh, that is a surprise.
Whoa!
Maisie got the game and the match by the skin of his teeth. And the crowd is going wild. Wow.
This was very close all along. Wow.
Maisie defeating Dan in a decider. That was a great match.